Just continue. I have read all of these tips previously, so let us just continue. Wow! It's Keiichi-kun. Good morning, good morning. Rena was ecstatically waving her arms at me, already brimming with energy. What do you mean good morning? It's already evening. Just say hello or something. But this is the first time I've seen you today, so I think good morning is right. It's right. I got it. Okay then, good morning it is. Good morning, Rena. I grabbed Rena's head and rubbed it with my hand. She squirmed, reveling in the motion like a cat. Hey Kei-chan. Sorry about yesterday, I left without telling you. No, it's my fault. Sorry for making you wait so long. Are you talking about setting up for the festival yesterday? How was it, Keiichi-kun? Did you do your job properly? The slight muscle pain throughout my body and my sluggish movements were already obvious. I did great. I'm pretty worn out now though. I grinned dryly and the three of us break out into laughter. Where's Satoko and Rika-chan? Are we meeting up with them at the festival? Yep. Rika-chan's actually been there since yesterday because she has such an important job. I think Satoko-chan stayed with her, so they're already at the shrine. Right, I just remembered. Today was Rika-chan's big performance. She's been practicing especially hard for this day. As her friend, I needed to make sure I went and cheered her on. Alright, let's go right away. Yeah! As we got closer to the shrine, we started passing by a lot more people and seeing a lot of parked cars. It began to get noisier too. I thought I could hear something like a Bond dance song. Without being able to restrain my impatience, I dashed up the entire flight of stone stairs. Keiichi-kun, you're going too fast. Wait for me! Man, Kei-chan, you're such a little kid. Whoa, the shrine grounds. They were packed with people. It was a festival if I ever saw one. Wow, they went all out this year too. Amazing. They're coming from Hinamizawa. Huh? The bedridden old man from Kimiyoshi branch family is here too. I think that old guy went home from Watanagashi last year and stayed in bed ever since. Yeah, there were a lot of villagers here that I didn't really know. They must have all been pouring in just for today. Oh, it's Satoko-chan. Hey! Oh, if it isn't everyone! Oh yes, hello to you all. Yo, Satoko. There's a lot of people today, don't get lost in the crowd, okay? Who do you think you're even talking to? Satoko too seems somehow energetic. Of course, I'm the same way. Huh, where's Rika-chan? She still has free time, doesn't she? Rika was giving her respects to the mayor and other important people. We shall come before long. I see, Rika-chan is the shrine maiden for today's festival after all. It's probably a pain for her to say hello to all the elders. It really is a pain. Hello everyone. Oh, Rika-chan, I want to take you home. Rika-chan wore an immaculate shrine maiden outfit that looked fresh off the shelves. It was a perfect fit for her somehow mystical appearance. How does it fit? It's not too long, is it? My grandma gave me some safety pins just in case the sleeves are too long. It's alright, it really is comfortable. As she spoke, she began to do some twists and stretches. It's great, it's so cute. Oh. There was approximately one person here getting a nosebleed from watching Rika-chan move. Keiichi-kun, don't you think she's cute, don't you? If you don't, then she'll be all mine and I'll take her home with me. I think she's really cute, totally cool. And after that I want to pretend to be her big brother or dad and take pictures with her. if we take a picture from two different places and make it stereoscopic, we can eat, or rather stare at a real life Higurashi at our house whenever we want. Oh, that sounds great. That sounds fantastic. Rena's eyes and mine glittered with stars as our noses played and we drooled. Rika, you'd best stay away from them. Yes, or I might get locked away in a basement somewhere. Oh, how ironic that would be. You look like you're enjoying it though, Rika-chan. Me, you're being harsh. We'll all laugh together again. Okay, let's not hang around here. Let's get to the festival. Rika-chan's there's not much time left until Rika-chan's big debut. You're right, great. Let's go, everyone. Yeah. Yo, if it isn't the daughter of Sonosaki, eat up. The yakisoba is packed full of pork. This year we filled it up as much as we could. We even put in fried calamari. Gotcha, old timer. The yakisoba this year looks like quite an achievement. You have squid too. You put a ton of the time into it. Wow, it's tasty, it's tasty. Yeah, the squid is delicious, but the aroma is just fantastic. It wonderfully compensates for how soft it tends to be. There's a delightful amount of squid and pork in it too. Yep, not bad at all, I say. Haha, Gage, you sound like you could walk into a cooking program and become the host. Yeah, when I see Gage acting like it's so good, it somehow tastes even better. I don't discriminate among delicious foods. So anything that I say is tasty has got to be worth trying out, right? Then Gage, please give us your opinion on this yakisoba again. I'll do it in 2 words. Absolutely scrumptious. If I had a second stomach, I'd buy another one right now. Having heard my 3-star rating, a whole line of people suddenly formed in front of the yakisoba stand. Wow, that's amazing. Geicha said it was so good that a little crowd started to form. Not bad. There was nothing to brag about, but I still decided to stick out my chest and put on airs. Oh, is that so? Then perhaps I shall try it out. Mister, could I perhaps have a chance to bother you for one takoyaki? Satoko brought a stick of takoyaki, also fried octopus from adjacent stand, and after blowing on it, put one of them into her mouth. How is it, Satoko-chan? If you give it a good rating, then Rena will buy it too. Chomp, choo-choo, gulp. It's time for Hinamisawa Michelin. Hinamisawa Michelin, Judge Saki Hojo to give her impression. Though she was all for it a moment ago, Satoko hesitated in her thoughts. Hey now, what's the matter? Everyone else takes one of their own and puts it in their mouths. Huh? Rena got kicked. Mine's bad too. There's no octopus in it. This takoyaki vendor. Could this be some sort of festival only? Summer festival only octopus-free takoyaki stand. An evil takoyaki stand that skimped out on octopus because they figured it would make them good money today. Ah, mine has some. Yeah, it's pretty good considering there's octopus in it. How am I supposed to explain that this octopus-free takoyaki is any good? Everyone wondered that. Our quizzical looks seem to be drawing equally dubious stares from the people in line. How about this? Takoyaki without octopus is really healthy. And even people who don't like octopus can eat this delicious takoyaki. After hearing that, several surprised guests left the line. It had the exact opposite effect. Alright, then I'll give it a try next. A self-inspired take on takoyaki in which you can clearly taste the simple flavors of flour, green onions and pickled ginger. The unaffected taste is bolstered by the absence of octopus. It wasn't half bad, but after hearing there's no octopus in its claws, even more people left the line. Rika-chan, any good comments? You can be honest. 400 yen is too much for this. Yeah, that was too honest. Even more customers leave the line dealing a little low. There were other takoyaki stands around after all. Well, I mean, we might not want to be doing this. Hey Satoko, you started all this, so give us a big turn around. I cannot do it. How do you expect me to lavish praise upon takoyaki without any octopus? Yeah, you idiot. Satoko's angry outburst was the final finishing blow. The customers are all gone, huh? The guy is staring at us. Why is that? Why is that? Lie. There's no saving this crowd. Perhaps I, Keiichi Maebara, will lend a generous hand. Keiichi-chan, you could do it. We want you to save the takoyaki vendor who didn't put any octopus in. Don't smile as you say something so bitter. Alright, fine. This may be the only chance you'll get to see a pro at work, so watch carefully. I shoved the stick into an octopus-less ducky and crammed it into my mouth. As before, there wasn't any octopus in it, but Mion's had some in it. That was the important point. A man who runs this takoyaki stand, he truly loves takoyaki in every meaning of the word. No, it could even be said that he adores it. Eh? Everyone gasped in surprise, including the takoyaki vendor glaring at us. This man truly does love takoyaki. Because he loves it, he doesn't want to create half-hearted random ones. Isn't that right? Takoyaki vendor looked down, unsure. Those watching were listening intently, wanting to know why octopus-less takoyaki deserved such a high rating. Keiichi-san, if you really and truly love takoyaki that much, why did he make takoyaki without octopus at all? Is he not betraying that very takoyaki? You may be right. In one sense, it is betrayal. However, it's the best possible compromise this man could find. This man is making real takoyaki today, as he always does. However, only one or two of them on each stick are the real ones. Well, you're right. The one I ate had octopus. And considering it did actually have it, I didn't taste bad at all, you know. Right, that was a bona fide takoyaki. And as for the other ones, it was the biggest compromise he could make against the biases of the general populace who think all there is that there need to be 8 pieces on a stick, or else it's not real takoyaki. Huh? Keiichi-kun, I don't understand what you mean. Why is one of them real thing and all the other ones are fakes? Why? A secret lies in the octopus. Mister, this octopus is true Akashi octopus. In recent years, the number of octopus caught in Akashi has decreased and their prices have risen drastically. Prices are now so high that you wouldn't think of using them in takoyaki. Then the man who had been looking down this whole town mumbled, yeah, that's right. Akashi octopus, it's very expensive. But this man absolutely had to have Akashi octopus. He could have bought much worse quality octopus for cheaper as much as he wanted, and he would have still been able to fool everyone. There are plenty of other scamming takoyaki vendors who claim theirs are from Akashi even though they are not. But this man would not accept it. He would not tell lies. Akashi octopus are supreme. He would never relinquish this one stubborn conviction. This man loved takoyaki. That's why he never lied. Yet there was one point that he absolutely had to compromise on. What might that be? The number. Popular opinion is that a stick of takoyaki should have 8 pieces in it. Even if it's real Akashi octopus, he couldn't charge 400 yen for just 1 piece, could he? Even if he didn't have 8 pieces, nobody would buy them. If he didn't have 8 pieces, nobody would buy them. This man wept over it. In order to make just one true piece of takoyaki, he wouldn't ever let himself lie through the other 7. Oh whoa, the octopus-free takoyaki vendor burst into tears. I gently clapped one on his shoulder. No matter what anyone else says, I will never forget how genuine you are. You, sir, are a true vendor of takoyaki. You are the only one in the world with the right to call himself that. Clap, 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 clap. As I embraced the shoulders of this man, shedding his manly tears, those watching delivered a round of applause moved by my speech. Everyone, I beg of you, please eat some of this true takoyaki vendor's takoyaki. If we don't treasure genuine men like this, then how can we protect the true path of the takoyaki? If nobody else will eat them, then I will eat them all. Wow, everyone watching is lining up. Keiichi-kun, you did it. I think it's more they thought Keiichi-chan's propaganda speech was interesting rather than the takoyaki actually looked good. Keiichi-chan, you could probably sell plain old rocks if you tried. It would go over well at the entrance of Akihabara station. Rika, I have never heard of this Akihabara. Where is it? Absolutely stunned at my successful speech, the guy man in the stall next to this one called out to me. Hey, you guys, do that for my sweets too. Great, you all get the gist of it, right? It's your turn this time, Rana. Okay, I'll do my best. Oh, when apricot sweets are cold, they are very, very good. The apricot is sitting so quietly and nicely on top of the syrup. How it's so cute. I want to take it home. Oh. It looks like she lost herself in this midway through. But a girl giving it such a natural grace was itself bringing some customers. A line was quickly forming behind Rena. Next up is okonomiyaki stand. What is okonomiyaki? I'm gonna search this up online. Oh! Okay. Cool. Tatako, you're up. Rather well. Crunch of the fried tempura batter mixed with yakisoba is simply to die for. With huge piece of bacon laid on top, when you bite into it, it all comes flooding out. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Yeah, that's freaking great. Now I want to try some too. Then a huge line formed at my words. What on earth is this? So basically all these onlookers are just following us around to all the stands. When people hear about food from others and then try it for themselves, it tastes a lot better than it normally would. So that's it. Even Rika-chan was gorging herself on the food, getting sauce on the bib it put on to prevent the shrine maiden outfit from getting dirty. Nice, the other guys are getting into it too. Okay, Keiichi-chan, which one should I do? Right, Mion, you go to stand next to that. Show them the depths of your power. But Keiichi-chan, the stall next to that is... Oops. A goldfish scooping stand. A bit out of our element. No, as club president, I won't flee no matter who or what is my opponent. Let's get started. I look forward to a splendid performance, Mion-san. The onlookers were also watching Mion with hopeful eyes. Welcome, welcome. Here's your net and bowl. Okay, here we go. The goldfish are energetic today. They really look delicious. Small things like this, you could crunch them down whole. Mutter, mutter. Mion-san, what in the world are you saying? Keiichi-chan, you eat them? Did you eat the one that Rena caught last year too? No, I didn't say anything like that. Mion's face went red and she took it vehemently in denial. Well, I mean, you just said yourself that they look really delicious. Yes, you did say so. I'll pause it for a second. Had to check my phone. I'm getting getting something to drink is always important when reading visual novels. My sister is omnivorous. When she eats anything that can go in her mouth. If they taste good, then maybe I'll try one next time. Let me by the way put on these ones again. No, Rika-chan, don't. You'll get sick. Wait a second. Hey, what the hell? Mion, how long have you been here? Hey Kei-chan, Mion-chan, Mion, everyone, good evening. Where did you come from, Shion? I've been here since the bit with the yakisoba. You were all so loud that I found you right away. Please, you've got nothing to do with this, do you? Go somewhere else already. Jeez, Mion, don't treat me so cruelly. Right, Kei-chan, you're okay with me being here, right? She asked, grabbing my arm and pushing her chest into it. Bounce. Keiichi-kun, you're a pervert, your nose is bleeding. When you squish a jelly donut, the jelly comes out, right? It's the same. This isn't something I have any control over. Is that right? Then more will come out if I squeeze harder. Squeeze. Shion, her cleavage, it's right against my chest. Rip. Yeah. Shion, what the heck are you trying to do? How vulgar. I seem to have misjudged you. What about my flashed chest? Rika-chan clasps onto my other arm to rub. A plentiful plump feeling on my left shoulder and the sour sensation of young unripe fruit on my right. Oh. Boom boom bang. Shion, Rika and Shion, Rika-chan and I, our faces now bruised, fell to the ground, splints sprawled. Nice job, Rena. Everyone's so dirty. Oh. Rena punched me. It really hurts. Rika, that you get what you deserve. Jeez. Now that Shion was here, the energy around us increased by 120%. Your friends are so much fun, Mion. I never get bored of them. Ah, right. Right, if you weren't here it would be way more fun, you know. I want to stay with you all, but if I continue seducing Kei-chan, my sister looks like she's literally going to bite my head off. So I'll retreat for now. I'll be back. See you, Mion. Don't be back. Get the salt. Someone get the salt. After teasing her older sister so much, Shion ran away into the crowd of people and disappeared. I feel that I have borne witness to a rare side of Mion-san. When Mi-chan is with Shi-chan, she looks kind of cute. Rena smiled happily, earning her a whack on the head from Mion. Don't say dumb stuff, let's get to the next stand already. When we went just like that, really noisy and lively to the other stands. We were paying money towards the beginning, but midway through the guys running the shops thought we were just too funny and we ended up being able to fool around without paying much more. Boom. The vigorous sound of big taiko drum echoed through the air. Rika, it looks like it's time. Yep, looks like it. Yep, right, it's just about time for Rika-chan to appear in the offertory dance. I'm a little nervous. Believe in yourself. All of your sweat will definitely amount to something, Rika-chan. Mion slapped hard on Rika-chan's back. That's right, you'll do fantastic, Rika. I'll do my best. Yeah, that's the spirit. I balled my hand into a fist and raised it into the air. We're rooting for you, Rika-chan. Go for it, yay! Remember. Go for it, yay! Rika-chan gave the best smile I'd ever seen, then pivoted on her heel and ran off. Okay, we should get going too. Right, let's go cheer her on. You mustn't. You must keep silent during the performance. I got it, jeez. I rubbed a hand through her hair. She was worried about her good friend up to the end. Then we'd better hurry. All the good spots will be taken. Come on. Mion ran off, and everyone else followed a moment later. A large amount of people had already clustered into the tight space of watching the edifying dance. Wow, this is a lot of people. I turned around to look at everyone else, but nobody was there. Where did everyone go? They probably got lost among all these people. Finally, I spotted the back of Mion's head on the other side of the crowd. It definitely doesn't look like I can get over there. Well, we got separated, no big deal. We can just meet back up when Rika-chan's dance is over. I gave up on finding others and wandered around trying to look for a place where I'd be able to see better. It didn't take long for me to realize I'd have to settle for watching between the heads of people in front of me though. Thump. Once again an even louder taiko drum resounded. This one was to announce the beginning of the dance. I couldn't see very well, but it seemed like Rika-chan had come onto the stage with the elders, who were in priestly garb. I heard low exaltations of admiration and the seniors dropping their prayer beads in gratitude. Everyone's heads were in the way and I couldn't see. It was really frustrating. We should have cut playtime short and come here to get good spots earlier. After Rika-chan intoned the prayer, she took the festival hoe and walked to the pile of quilts stacked on the altar. That's right. The point of the ceremony was to purify Peri and to hold a memorial service, wasn't it? Then the solemn offertory dance began. He had practiced using mochi pounding mallet. The accurately shaped festival hoe Rika-chan held seemed really heavy. Back and forth, up and down. It was doubtlessly difficult to even lift in the air, but she sweated and waved, raised and dropped it again and again. She couldn't just deal with it and do it grudgingly. As the shrine maiden, she needed to retain the dignity and solemnity present at this festival. There must be a ton of pressure on Rika-chan's shoulders right now. Oh, you missed the fun part of the. You just missed the fun event, but maybe we'll get more fun stuff soon. Maybe. The Watanagashi has just begun. Damn, why am I cheering her on from a place I can barely see her? I am her friend, so I should be right up in the best spot rooting for her. Hey-chan, over here. Someone tugged lightly on the back of my shirt collar. It was Shion. She beckoned me outside the crowded ring of people. She had a mischievous grin on her face, and I took as her saying she knew a... Yes, Mion did convince us to eat the goldfish. Yes, that was the exact event that happened. Now I want to be goldfish, but instead I've only got seeds. They are not even that crunchy. Oh well. Healthy, nutritious seeds. And I took it as her saying she knew a good place nobody else knew of. Shion, what's up? Shh. Just be quiet and come with me. After she told me so, she ran in a big detour around the throng. And it's great to have someone who knows the lay of the land here at times like this. Yeah, what happened to the goldfish when I caught last year? Yes, that's exactly what happened. Mion ate it. lay of the land at a time like this. Impressed though crossed though I was, I nearly lost sight of her right away. No more getting separated for me. So I ran after her so that I wouldn't be left behind. As I wondered in anticipation what kind of secret spots Shion had in mind, we left the crowd of people and went around to the back of the shrine grounds. Hey, wait, where are we going? We're getting further and further away. Shh, just stay quiet and follow me. You'll understand soon. Shion gave me a wink that reminded me of Mion as she said that. No sign of people and not much moonlight, it was dark. We had gotten pretty far away from the crowd of people on the shrine grounds. How are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance from here? I see there's some high spot around here, isn't there? Like a rooftop or somewhere else we can look down at it, right? What? Why do we have to climb onto the roof? Well, how else are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance? Yeah, Shion can show something. I mean, what? Is it me or is it just getting hot in here? How else are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance? Did you really want to see Rika-chan's dance? Kei-chan, could it be that your strike zone is really low? I don't think we're understanding each other here. Aren't you going to show me somewhere I could see Rika-chan's dance from easily? What? Who made that promise? Yeah, what's going on? Why me? Why do I always misunderstand Shion? Is it my fault? Am I just reading the wrong things into it? Then why did you call me all the way out here? With an expression that indicated she wasn't fooling around. Shion pressed her index finger to my lips and said slowly and quietly, "This place is dark and dead, empty spot. You can see it from festival grounds, and now a male and female of the same age are all alone together." Eh? Who could this be? She's not planning something crazy again, is she? Shh, look over there. See? Shion whispered, pointing into the dark underbrush. And there we saw two figures, one male and one female. What's that? Is that... We are right at the scene of the rendezvous, of course. See, look closely. Can you tell who they are? I peered intently into the dark at Shion's suggestion. Oh, it's Tomitake-san and Takano-san. The two of them were clearly breathing quietly and glancing around to make sure nobody knew they were there, as they crouched before the entrance to a wooden storehouse-like building. Wait, Shion. Could this be what you wanted to show me? Kei-chan. You can see Rika-chan's dance any year, but you won't ever get another chance like this, okay? I had thought the Sonosaki sisters each had their own personalities, but at times like this they seemed all too similar. I'm going back. Don't call me for something like this again. If we move now they'll see us. At our noisy argument, Takano-san suddenly turned around. Oh my, who might that be? We held our breaths and tried to wait it out, but it seemed like Takano-san was now acutely aware of our presence. Shion and I exchanged glances, then gave up and climbed out from behind the bush. Well, hello there. The moon sure is beautiful tonight, isn't it? My, if it isn't Shion-chan and Maibara-kun. Good evening. Yes, the moon certainly is pretty. What is it, Kei-chan? You sure are smart, you know that? Having a secret date in a place like this? Then I guess we accidentally interrupted something important. You're the ones who were meeting up secretly. Tomitake-san and Takano-san laughed to themselves and it got on my nerves for some reason. Yep. Tomitake's biceps are reason enough to skip Rika-chan's dance. Yeah. They certainly are. Like, take a look at those. Like, just peer into those. They are really quite something. Just really big and bulky and muscular. I mean, what? No, I'm not getting lost in his muscles. It got on my nerves for some reason. Wait, so you two weren't having a little rendezvous then? Oh, of course we weren't. Though I don't dislike that kind of romance. Unfortunately, this wasn't the location of rendezvous either of you would want to see. Sorry for not living up to your expectations. If it wasn't a rendezvous, then what were you doing? Tomitake-san, were you messing around with the padlock on that door just now? Huh? After she said that, I looked at the two of them, and I definitely saw it. They were hunched in front of the warehouse door, fiddling with a pretty heavy-looking padlock. Guess we've been found out, huh? We were trying to break into the warehouse, but don't tell anyone, alright? Don't tell anyone, are you thieves or something? I demanded unthinkingly just because of how absently Tomitake-san was grinning. Nah, never. Thieves are people who steal things, right? It's not like we were trying to take anything out of here. I see. Then why are you trying to unlock the door? This is the forbidden storehouse for ritual tools. They say only the Furuda family and a mere handful of others are allowed in. Forbidden storehouse? I took a few steps back at that and looked on the entire warehouse. Shouldn't that be looked at? Oh well. It certainly looked like one, built removed from any signs of people, almost as if in secret. It was filthy, revealing how little it was ever opened. And it was built to be durable, giving it a strange, overpowering impression. Now that I looked at it more closely, it was certainly different than normal warehouses. This place, they're called ritual implements. Basically, this is a warehouse where they store such tools used in rituals. Well, more accurately, maybe it's a temple where the implements are enshrined. The ritual Higurashi is using for the offertory dance was inside here until today. Of course, if anybody but Furuda family enters it, they bring impurity into it, so absolutely no one is allowed to a single step inside it. It's a sanctuary. Shouldn't we absolutely not be coming to a place like this then? However, Takano-san was wearing a childlike expression, an innocent smile at best, and a terribly cruel grin at worst. I told you I was researching Hinamizawa's folk tales and legends out of an interest in them, didn't I? A lot of answers to questions I'm curious about are hidden inside here. Yep. They sure are being set up. Yeah. I waited all this time until today for this chance. Everybody's eyes were fixed on the dance at the shrine grounds today. This was the ultimate blind spot. I see. I didn't know you had lockpicking skills, Tomitake-san. Stop it. I don't want to be doing this, okay? Sorry for taking you along with me, but this was all thanks to you, Jiro-san. I really am grateful. Please. This is the only time I understand, Takano-san. I don't want to be sneaking into places like this. You really are a good person, Jiro-san. Ka-chink! Tomitake-san undid the padlock and placed it to the side. It's open. Thank you. At long last. Takano-san gulped. With an unusually excited air about her, she gave the heavy door a shove. The sharp smell of mold and dust flowed out from the gap in the doors. I had claimed curses didn't exist, but in this situation I could believe in them. If we went into such a holy place with our shoes on, it feels like we could be punished somehow. How about it? You're accomplices too. We came all the way here, so why not come in and take a tour? It'll be a little field trip to a museum of precious cultural artifacts that conceal the secret history of Hinamizawa. And it's only open today. We're not accomplices or anything. Aren't you interested, though? Come on, let's take a peek. Shion said, predictably linking her arm with mine. But we definitely shouldn't be doing this. This is a holy warehouse, isn't it? You said ritual implement, right? I really feel like we shouldn't go in. I'm part of the Sonoseki family, so I have a good guess as to what we'll find in there. But I want you to see it too, Kei-chan. You want to show me something? Something to me? I thought it was just a ploy, but Shion's eyes looked entirely serious. Of course, she was the sort who could lie with a straight face. Of course, I was an average boy too. My curiosity was at least twice that of a normal person. Sleeping forbidden treasures never to leave this warehouse. Chances like this don't come around too often. If I had to choose, then I want to see. Until the locked door is open though, I don't know about this. If you're not interested, Kei-chan, then you can leave now. I think you'll wonder about it later though. Tomitake-san spoke after listening to our discussion, having himself sat down on the stairs to take a short rest. I'll keep watch here. Go in and check it out with them. I'm not too interested. I would not personally go in. Just because I feel like I would get punished. But that would probably be on the technical side of things. I would probably not go in. Probably not. Yeah. Most likely I wouldn't go in. I have enough restraint, and I'm not that curious. So if this were happening to me in real life and I was that young, then I definitely would have went in. I would definitely hang out with Tomitake though, like that would be definitely #1 priority. It might be pretty interesting for a young guy like you, Cage-kun. He said, laughing mischievously. There was no ill will in his laughter. Tomitake-san, do you know what's in there? What's in here? Kind of. Takano-san told me all about it. Must be pain to have to go along with your companion's unique hobbies, huh? Tomitake-san didn't answer that, only responding with a pained smile. Takano-san had this kind of scary air about her, like she'd drop absolutely everything else for something she had an interest in and go straight for it, but... Tomitake-san, on the other hand, seemed like the gold standard of what a normal person should be. Having him tell me so frankly to go check it out suddenly made the guilt feel lighter. Okay, but just a little. If it's not interesting, I'm leaving. You got it, Shion gave me another Mion-like wink. Looks like we're decided. Shall we go inside? Hiro-san, will leave this to you. Tomitake-san waved his hand to see us off. The inside was pitch black, but Takano-san had turned on the battery-powered lantern she'd brought, revealing a pretty cramped front room. It's so dark in here. Everyone take care not to trip over anything. I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san smiled spitefully as if leaving Tomitake-san out of something fun began to close the door. Man, alright everyone, have fun. There was a low, heavy and loud noise, and we were completely cut off from the outside world, and we covered in silent darkness. Takano-san's lantern was the only light we had. It'll be fine. It's an outdoor lantern with a backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything. Looks like Takano noticed my uneasy expression. I couldn't help but blush a little and avert my gaze. Deeper inside there was a heavy and old but sturdy door with solemn decorations on it. Why do I have this really bad habit of adding suffixes to everything? Like, not suffixes, but you know, and the and before everything. I have a really bad habit of saying that. It was the last door sealing away what was within. Strange how it has an antechamber even though it's just a warehouse, isn't it? I believe it's a setup. It's a setup. It's a setup! God damn it! It's set up this way so that you open one door at a time, never letting the room with all the tools be seen from the outside. Takano-san explained this, awfully impressed by the construction. But still, it's really dark in here. Huh? That over there, I spotted a circuit breaker hanging from a clump of wiring, clumsily attached to the wall. Oh, here, isn't this the light switch or something? I flicked the biggest switch I can find with a click. The pitch black room was illuminated by an old bare light bulb. Everyone scrunched up their faces at the sudden strobe-like brightness. Don't! Before she even finished, she slapped my hand and flipped the switch back. There was another loud click and the room returned to darkness with only the lantern for illumination. Ow. You can't, Kei-chan. We snuck in here, remember? If you turn on the light, it might give us away. I'm scolded by Shion fairly harshly. It looked like she was worried about whether someone had seen them from the momentary light. It's alright. It was only for a moment. Takano-san remained a relaxed adult. It seemed like she was confident she could talk her way out of it if someone did see us. Let's go in. Here we go. There. The even heavier door opened, and at this time it wasn't just the dust that came out with the air, there was also a nasty smell. One smell was like opening a dust-filled cupboard in the back of the kitchen that hadn't been opened in years. And the other smell, the nasty one, was hard to explain, but it was like the raw odor of a fish market. From how the sound echoed, this room felt far larger than the first. Takano-san held up her lantern and revealed the contents of the expansive room. Whoa. At the back wall of the storehouse, right in front of us, was a Buddha-like holy object, standing there, looking down at us. I was taken aback by its unforeseen force, lit up by the slender beam of the lantern. That's the guardian spirit of Hinamizawa, Oyashiro-sama. It's far grander than the one at the shrine, Oyashiro-sama. So this is the spirit protecting Hinamizawa. The one guarding the holy land of Hinamizawa from the impurities of the outside world, and the one delivering punishment after punishment among those who attempt to sully the land with the dam construction. It looks like there are far more tools stored here than I thought, but this is so sad. None of them have been maintained. How unfortunate that they are in such a state. Even in the dim light I could see strange objects lining the walls, ceiling and shelves. Takano-san, speaking as if in trance, was infatuated by the various implements filling the dark room. They weren't very festival-like or traditional, but instead this was more like the workshop of a blacksmith or a carpenter. There were a lot of large wooden and metal tools packed in here. Putting it bluntly, this was all pretty boring stuff. I'd imagined there would be more artistic things here from Heian period, but these are far cry for being cultural artifacts. My expression betrayed my dashed hopes, and they caught on right away. Oh, is this not interesting for you? I'm not into literature or art, so I can look at this stuff, but I don't really understand its value. Keiichi-kun, you really do look like you don't get it. I guess that's only natural. Takano-san reached into the paperback that she'd been holding the whole time, took out a worn scrapbook and began to flip through it. Then just for you, Keiichi-kun, I'll tell you an old story. It's a common tale in this region. If you go to the library, it would even be on their recommended reading list. Yeah, like a museum tour. Like a museum that was locked up. Definitely. Telling stories in such a dark and creepy place. You must have a horror story in mind. Fion's face belied nothing but calm. If she had the same personality as Mion, she'd have found fault with me being scared. I'll endure it for now and pretend it to be calm. Hold on. Okay, alright, I'll read it. After confirming that I was going to be quiet and listen, he began to speak softly like a kindergarten teacher and reading a picture book. Long, long ago, in a certain village in the mountains, there was a swamp. This swamp was very, very deep. Some even called it bottomless. People said it was connected to hell, the land of demons. Rumors said that it was deeper than the ocean and that anyone swallowed would sink into the underworld, a bottomless swamp. Its name was Onikafuchi. Wait, I thought back to the story I heard yesterday about the sacrifices sinking into the bottomless swamp. Could that be the swamp that she's talking about? So then the village was Hinamizawa, right? To catch on quickly. That's right. Though it was called Onikafuchi village at the time. Onikafuchi village. That's a pretty inauspicious name. It evokes quite the image, doesn't it? I hear that the name was changed in the Meiji period. The name of the swamp connected to hell was called Onikafuchi, which meant Demon's Abyss. The true name of the village, Hinamizawa, was in Onikafuchi village. The villagers belonged to that abyss, or to hell in other words. They lived their lives worshipping the swamp that connected to it. Said to connect to it. But then one day, humans began to appear one after another from deep in the swamp. The villagers feared that hell was overflowing. Demons mercilessly attacked the villagers. They could only watch in fear. They could do no more than hide themselves and tremble. So did someone exterminate them? Unfortunately, there is no Momotaro or Superman in this fairy tale. Then, did they get the whole village together to fight them? Heavens, no. The villagers weren't nearly strong enough to fight on equal terms with the demons. Then the only recourse would be to flee the village. They couldn't do that either. To the villagers, it was their beloved homeland. It didn't matter how terrifying the demons, they wouldn't have run away so easily. Then what did they do? Couldn't they just get wiped out? Unable to fight and unable to run. All they could do was wait for the village to be destroyed. Then, when everyone had lost hope, their god, Oyashiro-sama, descended upon them. I see. So Oyashiro-sama came down from the sky and beat up all the demons then. You're such a boy, Kei-chan. You always jump straight to using force to resolve things. Beyond side, a little annoyed. Embarrassed, I held my tongue. The thing about Oyashiro-sama, he wasn't a violent god who would beat them up, like you're saying. He was a kind god, filled with love and benevolence. The strength of Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens couldn't be compared to that of the demons. They didn't even fight, they simply prostrated themselves before his radiant authority. Oyashiro-sama urged them to go back to hell from whence they came, but the demons wept and challenged him, saying they could never return. The word of the demons too has harsh commandments. They claimed they had been banished from hell. Demons who didn't have a place to go, either in hell or in the human world. Of course they were at fault for attacking the village. They deeply reflected on it and were sorry. As the villagers conversed amongst themselves, little by little they came to pity the demons and, after talking with everyone in the village, they decided to live alongside them. Oyashiro sounds actually pretty cool in my opinion. Like, pretty chill. A lot of fairy tales have them being exterminated or being driven away, but you don't often hear one where they live in peace. You're right, demons are supposed to symbolize evils. A story where they decide to live together with humans is certainly strange. When the demons first heard the villagers' invitation, they doubted their ears but soon burst into tears of joy. The villagers had given them a place to live. It was said that in payment for this good deed, the demons shared their many kinds of powers and secrets with the villagers. Ashura-sama was very pleased with this happy exchange. He gave the demons the bodies of humans so they would be indistinguishable from the villagers. He himself decided to stay on the surface and watch over the everlasting peace between them. That a land in which man, demon and god live together. I had thought the word demon was a noun meaning evil that needs to be exterminated. The god may have mediated for them, but you don't often hear happy endings like that where both sides live in harmony. I guess it's kind of interesting. Although the normal fairy tale ends there, was revised quite a bit during the Edo period into a much longer story. After that, the humans and demons intermixed and eventually there was no difference between them. So the demons ended up disappearing. No, not at all. Half of them just stayed just as they were. The knowledge of the villagers had received from the demons basically made them in something inhuman people called transcendent. They were well aware that the power they had was a heresy, and as those below worshipped them, they lived out their lives in secrecy. These stories are the root of many derivative tales and pieces of fiction. The foundation, I mean. The basis. What do you mean by the root? It means the part about the villagers having demon blood. What I mean is, all of the legends from around here are based on the premise that the villagers are descended from demons. There was a hint of amusement in Shion's face as she said that. It was like she wanted to say that she too had demon blood in her. Is there any proof though? Maybe it's somehow rooted in historical facts just beyond just fairy tales. Oh, Mabarakun, then you believe that demons really did come out from the swamp and breed with humans? Well, it's not that I don't believe it, but when she said demons, she meant the ones from hell, but in ancient Japan the word wasn't necessarily used to denote only that kind, right? The more well-known use involves the drifting foreigner theory. As the story goes, Westerners who were shipwrecked on nearby seas had such remarkably different customs that they were called demons. Japanese people were relatively similar in appearance to other Asians, but everything about those from the West was different. Their physiques, their faces and their skin color. In Japan, terms like red demon and blue demon evoke images especially of Westerners. Lacking in skin pigments, Westerners would sunburn easily and turn red. Being fair-skinned, I think blood vessels appearing on their skin would look blue too. And full of accidental aliens would drift into Japan and come into persecution being called demons. They would flee into the mountains to survive, turn into bandit groups and attack villages for food and the like. Ashura, a knight who is overpowered the demon. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. How does that explanation sound? Maybe it's a bit childish. Takano gave me a weird smile when having come up with such an impromptu hypothesis, I subconsciously followed it up with a self-deprecation. Still, she didn't smile as if to make fun of me. It's not ridiculous. There are a lot of people who subscribe to the drifting foreigner theory. Even so, nobody actually knows what happened. Were they a group of foreigners who had turned to banditry, or were they really demons who had come from the bottom of the world? Then, Takano-san, which one do you believe? Truth of the matter aside, I'd rather believe the more fantastic explanation. It's more fun that way, isn't it? Her answer made her sound a wee bit like romanticist. Here I thought she'd reject unrealistic stories like that. Now then, this is where the fun begins. Takano-san brought an end to her storytelling and waits for a moment as if to tantalize us. Suddenly Shion looked around as if something had caught her eye. Her head bobbed to and fro like she was making sure nothing had changed. What's wrong, Shion? I'm sorry. Please don't worry about it. Shion pretended as though nothing had happened. Second-san also made sure nothing had happened, then cleared her throat and broached the next subject. I explained that half of the villagers have demon blood. That blood, they actually say that it's the kind of demon that eats people. Man-eating demons, that escalated quickly. That blood still runs through the villagers' veins. Suddenly that very evil smile. Huh. I wonder what she looks like in the older version. Well, that's comforting. They say that sometimes the blood awakens from its slumber. I thought the fairy tale had a happy ending with the humans and demons living in peace, but it began to suddenly change into a brutal, bloody story. Well, they eat people. They say that every decade or so they can't help but want to feast on human flesh. The villagers can't eat other villagers. So when this happens, it's said they descended onto the human villages and conducted onikakushi. What's an onikakushi? Broadly speaking, it's when a demon kidnaps someone, when a person is demoned away. They say that the villagers of Onikafuji would overwhelm unfortunate human villages in order to kidnap sacrifices. Takano-san's explanation was plain and simple, but when I imagined what it must have been like, it was terrifying. They lose their human reason. The villagers turn into real demons en masse. They attack villagers they loathe in the dirty world of masses below. And then they kill and eat their sacrifices. So they're no different from demons after all. What did Oyashiro-sama do? Wasn't he supposed to be staying in the village and watching over them? Oyashiro-sama knew about it, of course. Onikakushi isn't indiscriminate. The villagers apparently never kidnapped anyone other than the sacrifices decided upon by their god. In the text, it's usually one or two people. Now let me check. Okay. Another sip of water. It's already been over an hour. This is a long chapter. In text it's usually one or two people. A village inhabited by those both human and inhuman. It was like heartwarming episode colors had inverted like negative film, revealing the painful and ugly truth. So on the nights when they raided villages, they would feast on their kidnapped sacrifices, which is why the nights came to be known as Watanagashi. Tonight's festival was Watanagashi. I just couldn't reconcile the fun festival with the horrible tale Takano-san was telling me. Watanagashi, well, wasn't it about giving thanks to the food we use over the winter or something? Kei-chan, Wata has another meaning, you know. It means entrails. Dion, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Entrails? Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Oh yeah! Like fish guts. Wait, what? Like a jigsaw puzzle, the fun times I had today and Takano-san's grotesque tale will click together in my mind. Watanagashi, so gut spilling. I didn't think saying that could ever feel so nauseating. Yes. It is as you imagine, Maabara. It's as you imagine, Maabara-kun. Right now, the Watanagashi festival might just be somewhat early summer festival occurring to every June, but it used to be different. So very different. It used to be a ghastly cannibalistic feast held on the night when the villagers had collected their unfortunate dinner. That can't be true. I had no real reason to say that, but I couldn't help it. Maabara-kun, you said that Watanagashi is a ritual about purifying futons, right? What do you think about futons? Will Koto filled with cotton filled with wata represent. Futons are futons, they're beds. They're things for sleeping in. What else could they possibly represent? I was rattling on, desperately attempting to deny the horrible festival that Takano-san was describing. Deep down, however, I found myself understanding all too well what she meant. Futon, stuffed with cotton. If the cotton represented entrails in both pronunciation and meaning, then entrail-filled futons would have to be humans. Why don't you think back to this? What are definitions? Fun. Yeah. Wata means fun. Why don't you think back to the offertory dance Rika-chan performed? Do you know what she was doing up there? No, I don't. I didn't even watch the whole thing anyway. Shh. Keiichun, you're getting too worked up. Kion grabbed one of my ears, reminding me that this wasn't somewhere I should raise my voice. Even so, I still can't suppress this agitation I feel. Rika-chan was carrying a festival hoe. You've probably realized it already, but that's not a hoe for plowing fields. The fun drifting festival. Yeah, that sounds right. It's a tool for dissecting human bodies. I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I'd left. When I told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I'd seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with that hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out one bit at a time and set it afloat. That's the kind of ritual it was. Broadly speaking, it was quite a bombastic ceremony where they'd rip out the guts and throw them into a basin, and then the ritual was over. I'd thought that afterwards the villagers, each with a different role, dismantled the flesh piece by piece and feasted upon it. At Takano-san's strangely happy giggle, I felt for some reason violent displeasure. Rika-chan every day during our lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet into the schoolyard, and she'd work so hard sweating bullets to practice for the offertory dance she had done today. All that effort, all that work, Takano-san disgraced it, even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Takano-san, I think you should choose your words more carefully. Kei-chan's pretty naive, so please don't tease him so much. I just sometimes wanna see what that expression looks like in the original. The moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware of how that story made me feel. I'm sorry, I thought you'd like a story with that sort of shock value since you're a boy. Now that's sexist. Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice as she smiled gracefully. After hearing all that, figure out what kind of stuff is in this storehouse, Kei-chan? See, look. Shion pointed out one of the walls, vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was, mere moments ago, they hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined up on the shelves. Ugh. All those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use, they all suddenly took on a new meaning, and I couldn't help but let out a groan. At first they had looked like carpentry tools, like chisels and planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of these sorts of tools before. Yeah, they came up in Japanese history textbook. Yes, on the page introducing Kaitai Shinsho, or the new text on anatomy. These sorts of things. They're printed realistically on the literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. These strangely shaped tools, they're for dissection. Everyone knows that in Edo period they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of dissection tools they used at the time came up in textbook supplement. The things I hung up on this wall all looked exactly the same as those. If you want a scarier way of looking at it, think of them as cooking utensils. Takano-san holding a lantern, the only light source in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her whether I liked it or not. Look, Takano-san illuminated a coil chain which left a bigger impression than other things that we saw. The chain in itself was nothing unusual, but further along it were mere feathers, were metal feathers that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people. Hey, Kei-chan, look at that. John tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. My spine froze. My blood felt like it was turning into sherbet as it rolled up my back. On each of the joints there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next victim, ready to spread their arms wide and close them. It's probably a chopping block. I think you'd strap a sacrifice down to prep them for eating. The word chopping block sent a jolt through my body. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it, as through. Okay, minor spelling error, but whatever. As though from a knife or a saw. They were the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show, they were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto this table, they probably wouldn't be able to move or even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of those eerie cooking knives lined up over there, tap them with it, then you'd slice open their belly and dissect them. I'd heard the stories, but this is incredible. Before coming in here, Shion had mentioned she had a good guess on what was inside. My kind of cooking board. Yeah. Grim, I must say. But it seems to have exceeded her imagination. By the way, is everything's not properly lined up? Oh well. There's still more. How about it? More fascinating than a wax museum, isn't it? Takano-san had this happy expression like she was visiting a toy store for the first time. I don't get it. This Mio Takano person has nerves of steel. Are these bizarre, grotesque objects that fascinating to her? I, for one, was not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all this. That would be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san holding the lantern giving off such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly turned it off, then what would I do when the next moment everything went totally dark? That's why I was scared. Takano-san had the only light, and anyway, I was scared. At some point, Shion started holding onto my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally here and now. Before we had even walked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt on my skin changed completely. Those cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones made to take away a person's freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Those were just things I understood. There were plenty of other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. At the very least, they were all completely different from the sort of clean, simple killing function of a katana. Tools to kill people were obviously constructed in such a way that they could kill people. If that was the goal, then the person who you used them on would obviously end up dead. The kinds of tools here were different. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them. for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. I didn't mean to kill you, bro. Sorry, bro, I didn't mean to kill you. I just accidentally killed you. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifices could die during such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now, in this moment, did I fully realize just how horrifying and fearsome that difference was. People, you see, most of these wouldn't kill them if used properly. Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile. Burning at the stake, the famous method for execution for witches will kill the person immediately. When the body suffers extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup produces poison-like symptoms and causes an immense shock to the victim. Though I suppose it's still very cruel compared to the guillotine. You have to wait far longer for that to happen. He described such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. Takano-san is a nurse. There's of saying that nothing can scare a doctor. I guess it's true. Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in Rome where they would grill the person, just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire. I think the memories of when I went to day camp with my family would come rushing back now of all times so vividly. That's what it was like. Apparently they wouldn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, even if they roasted one side of the person to a crisp for an entire night, they would still be conscious and able to speak fluently. That's insane. You'd grill someone the whole day and they'd still be conscious. It's said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Among them, there was one method where they would open the gut, pull out the intestines like sausages, pull them up with a winch and put them on public display. Jen was behind me, clinging to me. Not just because she was scared, she was protecting her stomach. You would think someone with their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Actually, as long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them all out while the person is still conscious. I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. I did not need this because I've been puking like for 2 days straight now, and this is not something that I needed. Jesus Christ. It was like my organs were coiling up just from Takano-san's stare. Though pulling them out with a winch was a rather exaggerated method. In a more barbaric way, they might slice open the gut and cut the intestines out and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable that they did dreadful things like that too, isn't it? However, those being put to death are conscious. It must be far more terrifying than painful. She spoke with a pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing. I heard Shion gulping multiple times near my ears. Perhaps Hinamizawa, or rather Onigafuji village, did something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it? I wanted nothing more than not to hear anything at all. So why only at times like these do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? Takano-san, having realized she'd scared Shion and I enough at this point, smiled soothingly. Then she turned on her heel, raised the lantern and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, getting your fun out of while you're still alive, that would be a lot of fun, definitely. If Takano-san left us here, we'd get even further away from the light. Kian and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along on her field trip through the ritual storehouse. I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. See? This place is interesting, isn't it? He says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim lighting didn't change, but for some reason, felt like I was able to see all of those horrible tools at once. Kei-chan, look up. Yeah, nothing but fun everywhere around you. That would be so much fun, so enjoyable. Jesus Christ. Nishion stammered while grabbing the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. For cages they were very small. Cramped cages just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no, you wouldn't get locked up inside it. It was another tool meant for restraining people, that the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. So many big and large, all things of all shapes, were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides by these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling were even hanging over our heads. There are many of these sorts of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. Kei-chan, there's something in there? Person? A mummy? Where? Kion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way you could tell if something was there in the first place. I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things? Kion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm for ourselves, we couldn't do much but wonder. Abra-kun, after seeing this, have you come to believe in all of it? The countless terrible rituals passed down in Hinamizawa? It's got nothing to do with believing in them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and terrible legends, with their legends, were like maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't it have its own era of hellscape, like torturous feasts because of religious suppression and things of that nature? Hinamizawa itself had such a period. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of the witch hunts, that was all far in the past, no more than a series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen. That must apply to Hinamizawa as well. Just as Europe had its dark age, Hinamizawa had one too. That's how this should be taken. Even if these things all really happened in Hinamizawa, they are all long past. They don't have anything to do with people living in Hinamizawa right now. Abra-kun, you really do like this village. It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me a slight smile. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right? Kion suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today? What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you are an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. Shion flashed a devilish smile as if reveling in the immorality of it. Abra-kun, you keep the secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Oyashiro-sama's curse or be made into a sacrifice. If it's a curse, then I wonder what kind of death it will be this year. If it's a sacrifice, then will I be thrown into Onikafuji swamp while still alive? If it is tonight, you know. Night of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Dragon-san said, bringing her face right up close to ours. As if to say that she had the choice, she'd rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be implying. Dragon-san took a fairly worn notebook out of her paperback and began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it had all manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about. What I'd really like to do is search through the National Library for newspapers from the era, but here it is. A photocopy of a page from some book was slid in the notebook, and it too was written in small tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it. Jesus Christ, we've been already going for about 1.5 hours. But I still have some more water. I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it. This is a story all about how my world got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute to tell you right now, but my water is spilling all over everywhere. This is a story that actually happened. It was about around the end of Meiji era. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of a murder in Onikafuji village. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no mere rumor or fairy tale. We don't have most police documents from the time anymore, so it's all based on oral traditions and memories. It's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of a newspaper from the Meiji era. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji era, in old Onikafuji village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head, and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife with entrails completely dragged out. Police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult. You understand what it must have been like. I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. It was the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination. The victim was skinned while still alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally. The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divided and dissected even further, the epitome of inhumanity. I'm of the opinion that the entire process was performed while the person was still alive, though. What do you think, my Brakun? He spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more brutal. Then when I broke my gaze from Takano-san's, those strangely shaped weird tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of Meiji era with the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying, these tools, and as if they had seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently. So that creepy incident, what was it in the end? The author says that regarding Onikafuji's dreadful villages, dreadful customs they survived in the recent post-Meiji days, and that perhaps they lasted until around beginning of Showa period. His corpse, which at a glance had been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was a pitiful sacrificial mere remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange that it didn't feel real. This was an extension of the legend. Was this an extension of the legends too? It happened in the Meiji era though, so which is just too recent to be called a legend. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right there suggesting it. Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right? I mean, the Meiji era ended 100 years ago. That's all. Only 100 years ago. Besides, it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period. Like, with the uproar around the post-war canned flesh. And, oh, I apologize. That story was taboo, wasn't it? Daganson immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh? Daganson, what did you just say? Canned flesh? Just then there was huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around to look. It was Tomitake-san who had opened the door slightly. Did I startle you? Oh, Jiro-san, could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature. Takano-san held her stomach and had to muffle her laughter as if she wanted to comment about his masculinity. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over and everyone's going down to the stream. The festival will be over within minutes. Oh, that's no good. Mabrakun is just such a good listener that I couldn't help telling stories. I'd really rather you not mention me in a place like this. Hiro-san, could you wait out front? I want to take a few pictures. There are actually a lot of tools I'd like to bring home, but we obviously can't do that. Takano-san took out the camera with her out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt. Ichikun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. You're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I did feel a bit of hesitation after leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness. When I thought about it though, I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked in the darkness, none of them could hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if phantasms were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. Left Takano-san there baiting their stroke of camera flashes and decided to leave the ritual storehouse. Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so their voices were very distant. The voices of the bugs, on the other hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place. How was it? Interesting? Tomitake-san gave a somewhat mischievous grin. You should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were. I should have kept watch outside with you, Tomitake-san. Tomitake-san laughed so delightfully that it wiped away our dark feelings. How did you fare, Shion-chan? Were you scared? I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but seeing the real thing was powerful. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as how I was in way worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. As Tomitake-san grinned candidly, my mind, exhausted and locked up by nervousness, began to calm itself. Was Takano-san an adult about this little expedition? You know how she seems like a child sometimes. I was worried she'd be way too excited. Both Shion and I laughed and left that as our answer. Hopefully she was only looking at things. I'm worried she'll sneak something out of there or mess with the ritual implement too much and break it. Right, that's quite possible. She's alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding it in her pocket. Yeah, I can see that. Shion said that what I was thinking. You sure she didn't break anything? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. I'm sorry. I ran out of film. Hiro-san, if you have any more, could I use some? Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomitake-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature. I'm all out of spare film. Sorry about that. Jeez. You won't win any Pulitzer prizes by not stocking enough film for any occasion, you know. I suppose that's it then. Tomitake-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, then closed the door and turned to the heavy padlock we'd left beside it. Takano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, right? How rude. I'm trying not to be that childish. But shellacked. Tomitake-san set the padlock back the way it was before. From a cursory glance it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all. Okay, let's get over to the stream ourselves. If we don't at least set some cotton afloat, there won't be any point in coming to the festival. Tomitake-san spoke brightly, urging us all on, setting cotton afloat down the stream. I shake my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as to the double meaning. Takano-san, looking at a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse. Let's just leave it at that, alright? You saw enough to sate your curiosity, didn't you? Oh no, not at all. Everything I found only renewed my interest. All those stories and legends suddenly hold water. After today I'm going to have to change the way I look at all these. Wow, she is truly indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else, still interested in all this through and through. We descended the stone stairs and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Near the bottom of the stairs we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out for them, then wishing it upon the cotton and setting it afloat down the stream. The festival was already over. Damn, I missed my chance to photograph the best part of Watanagashi. Oh, but it's not too late. I'm going to go and set some afloat. Perhaps you could take pictures of me? Takano-san with an impish expression brought her head to Tomitake-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomitake-san, man to man, dating such a handful of a woman. Goodbye then, Maibara-kun. Shion-chan. We're going down the stream. Would you like to come with us? No, I couldn't get in your way. Please take your time. Shion waved her hand to them with an expression just as impish as Takano-san's. Tomitake-san on his part seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps. I'm pretty worn out. Same here. I'm exhausted too. Agent, this is your first Watanagashi. You go on, don't mind me. I'm tired, so I'd like to stay away from the crowd. Yeah, if we were to go now, we'd barely slip in the end of the cotton drifting ceremony. My sister and your other friends might be looking for you too. Go on. Oh yeah, right. They have been by themselves ever since we got separated. I'd feel bad if they were looking for me. Then Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face, then put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep this a secret. My sister is the type that gets really jealous. If she knew I was hugging you this whole time, she'd never let me hear the end of it, so keep tonight a secret, okay? Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing. Not only because of that either. Considering what we were doing tonight, we really need to keep it a secret. Ashira's curse might happen tonight, and we four would be the prime candidates. The loosening threads of tension become taut again. Taut? Out? Never heard that before.
Thought.
Thought. Okay. Shion, however, burst out laughing. Alright, I'm going to get out of here before I run into my sister. I really am tired, so I don't have the endurance to put up with her anyway. I can't tell if you get along with her or not. We get along. Though as she said that her vague expression explained that there were a lot of oddities in a relationship between twins. I'm only a child. I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. Make sure you get along with her, okay? Right, thank you kindly for your meddling. Okay, I'm gonna go. You should hurry up if you want to make it, Keichan. Watanagashi really is about to end. Kion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I returned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Watanagashi festival below me. Seriously though, what was that sound anyway? It was kind of unpleasant and creepy. Huh? What sound? The sound, you know, the banging noise. It was really loud, wasn't it? I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. I stared hard at her too. Sorry, Shion. You give me the short version. What was making a noise? Wait, Kei-chan, it didn't bother you? When all's said and done, it was like we were speaking two different languages. Shion, explain it to me without jokes from the beginning, will you? What's this about a noise? Kei-chan, you quit joking around too. Really honestly, it didn't bother you? Neither of us was giving any ground, and both of us were staring at other in disbelief. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of an actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held the urge to shout at her and ask politely one more time. I'm going to ask one more time, okay? I'll ask the questions. Kyo nodded silently. Okay, here goes. You said there was a sound. What are you talking about? The banging sound. It was like a kid jumping up and down on the floorboard somewhere far away. It really didn't bother you? There was nothing to be bothered by. When did you hear this? I never heard anything. Wait, Kei-chan, are you serious? Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about, but if it has Shion acting like this, whatever it was, it gave me the creeps and sent a chill down my spine. It was while we were looking around the inside of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san. About the time she started her stories, I think it was. Little by little, louder and louder, on and off and on. He heard a banging sound like a child jumping on distant floorboards. That can't be true. Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening. Please don't try to scare me either, Kei-chan. It was something like it was like something was making noise in time with Takano-san's scary stories, and I was totally creeped out the whole time. The chill rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze over. You and Takano-san weren't paying any attention to it at all, so I pretended to not hear it either, but you heard it, right? It happened a bunch of times and it was really loud. Fion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. You've gotta be kidding, Luke. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time Shion had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion who heard it tremble, or should it make me who didn't hear it tremble? I didn't know the answer at that time. I didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seemed to have made that decision before I did. What are you laughing about? I really got you, Kei-chan. I was fibbing the whole time. What? Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was. Clapped on me back. He clapped on me back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial and actually made me feel worse. Then after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left almost like she was running away. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. John left it out and said she had been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. Now that I think back, Tomitake-san said the same thing, didn't he? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Tomitake-san, the most neutral party present at the time, said he'd heard something. And that noise, it was real? The banging sounds. Sounds as though a child jumping up and down on some kind of floorboards far away. Ashura-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. Most plausible victim candidates were Tamokano-san, Tomitake-san, and Shion and me. The bustling of the people sounded further away than I would have liked. The sounds of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my mind. Then all of a sudden I was bounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch. Keiichi, we found you! It was Rika-chan. When I turned around, Mion and Rena were there too. Mion sighed and said, we finally found you. Now we just need to find Satoru. Everyone got split up this year. We should make sure we have somewhere to meet up afterwards next year. Oh. You're right. The festival, so we should all be together. I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a little bit of guilt. Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing? Ah, yeah. I saw it all. You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either. That disappointed glare is really off-putting. Yeah, that's right, Rika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake. I tensed up as I realized I'd made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped a hand onto my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body. Did you do it too, Kei-chan? Did you get some cotton and send it down the stream? You haven't yet, right? That is what I could feel her saying. Without the courage to tell any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head. Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun. You should go now or it'll be over. It'll be over. Sorry. This is my first Watanagashi, so I don't really understand the rules and stuff. That's right. I'm sorry. Mion took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps. Hey, Kei-chan. What? Did you see Shion? Shion? My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. No? Oh well. I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike though, so it might have been you. You wouldn't have gotten that wrong. You're wearing different clothes. Oh, that's right. Mion's momentary silence was like a death grip upon me. I just can't do anything about that, Shion. Well, it's her we're talking about, so we can just leave her be. Mion's expression returned to her former usual smile and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. Gonna be the end of the chapter. This be the end of the chapter. Oh, that's a lot of tips. I hope these are quite quick. Plumbing the depths. Okay. Watanagashi. The rite of Watanagashi performed during a village festival every June, even now, but reading back to its origin turns up a seriously sanguine ceremony. Originally, Watanagashi fought to happen at fixed intervals, and after receiving Shirosama's trust, they chose a sacrifice. Then the entire village would kidnap, demon away the person, and ceremoniously dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determine the intervals are shrouded in mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred so extremely irregularly. There's a theory that it was determined based on astrological fortune telling, but it isn't too convincing. The residents of ancient Onikafuji village firmly believed that they were half man, half demon transcendent, and that they were more valuable than humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove that they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the rite of Watanagashi was a political event for the purpose of either being an outlet for or outright diverting the attention of the village of the isolated Onikafuji village. In case of any of their complaints or dissatisfactions too serious. If that was the main reason these ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. Well, that was short. Alleged importance of the implements. I can't find anything that gives concrete description on what their ritual implements were like. They were, however, real and definitely existed a multitude of different kinds. One source states that the implements were used in Watanagashi rite alone are numbered 200. Wow, that's a lot of different. The obvious question then is why they required such a myriad of them. The rite of Watanagashi was to kidnap people through the demoning away, dissect them and eat them. I believe the tools for dissection and restraining, but the tools were for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them is far too many. Generally, tools evolve such way as to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you've reached the ultimate goal, that is, attain a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution normally stops there. Regardless, why would they have created so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. Tools used for entertainment would evolve over time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal would be more of a dead end, and in searching for the next goal they would split into many different subtypes. So then perhaps it's not a stretch to suggest that these 200 plus implements some entertainment value. This is just a hypothesis, of course, but maybe the human dissection process was viewed as a type of entertainment. The three families of old would develop one new implement, dissection tool, one after another, and each was varied and novel and attracted spectators, keep them from growing bored. It's not unimaginable. All of them have to be enshrined within that storehouse. There isn't much longer until the night of Watanagashi. Though its original intent has been lost, I will reveal the secrets of the traditional ceremonial night within the ritual storehouse. I can't restrain my excitement. Watanagashi cannot come soon enough. And then after the festival. Late that night, tensions in the police station were strained. In the silence, many of the staff members' eyes shifted back and forth between the clock and their telephones, counting the seconds in that stifled atmosphere. Umagaya-kun burst in with a young guy trailing behind him. Oishi-san, I've got the autopsy result. Court physician is just got here. I'm ready to go, sir. I'll head straight for Gifu. Uma-chan, things have gotten a bit complicated. They appear to be having a very difficult time determining who the victim. Could they have been dismembered? Nope. Cooked to a nice light brown. He spoke in a sportive tone, but the meaning behind his words was heavy. Staff gave a collective sigh. All the way, head though? Completely blackened, it seems. Probably smells terrible too. What a shame it seems to be. Gifu-san, cooked with no possessions, then discarded outside the prefecture. At worst, it could have taken a week for the body to be identified. The fact that they'd sniffed out sniffed it out tonight was huge. Komiyama-kun and a few others are performing throughout thorough night raid on the dentist in Okinawa. All we can do is hope Tooth matches some medical records. Sorry, someone go and buy me a two or so boxes of Ultra Mild. The young guy answered in and formation and darted out into the hallway. We did an excellent job finding it this year. It could be that the people who disappeared in the past years were scattered outside the prefecture like this too. Then why not bury them? Or sink them in the Sea of Japan or Lake Biwa or somewhere like that? Why though? Hasn't the pattern so far been that one person dies and another disappears? Kuma-chan, the corpse was inside an oil drum, unrestrained and cooked. They probably burned them after strangling them. They knew it would be found. So what you mean is, from beginning they didn't want the person to disappear this year. Not so much as they just aren't related. The person didn't disappear, in fact, whoever did it seemed to have wanted to make a show of it. You mean it could be a warning? He folded his arms, then heaved a long and heavy sigh. That might have been the case had it happened in town. If they'd messed up, taking the victim far away and burning them alive wouldn't have been noticed. If they meant it as a warning, they should have done it close to Hinamizawa. They wanted to emphasize the fact that they killed the victim, but instead of doing it somewhere for dramatic effect, they did it outside the prefecture. Did they want to emphasize it or hide it? Boy, I do wonder if what Oyashiro-sama is up to this year. A telephone ring cut through the heavy silence. A staff member nearby snatched up the receiver. Oishi-san, it's Komiyama. They have it. The dental clinic in Okinawa fixed the wisdom tooth 3 years ago. What about the records? Completely X-rays. Well, I feel bad for waking up the dentist before dawn. Kuma-chan, get out there as soon as you get records from Komiyama-kun. Will do. Oh, it's the chief. Thank you for coming out at this hour. Oishi-san, my apologies for my lateness. What's the situation? Well, it's just getting good, you see. We're all getting fired up. Whoa! Well, that's grim. I can't remember who exactly died. It might be different, though. It's probably not different, but I can't remember who died. Well, that's also gonna be enough for the stream today, so